He loves the banana, especially when they come from Jamaica, man. Hey, this is Sean Connery. I like to sing the reggae rap. Ba-da-ba-da.
Alright, hello folks. This is Andrew from 4Gamerz, here bringing you the first episode of the Huz Cast. I've been telling you guys about it for a couple of weeks now. We've been asking for questions and input. And it looks like today's topic is going to be based around Resident Evil. That's what most people have been coming after, so that's what we're going to throw at you guys today. First, I'll start off with this Resident Evil Huz Cast with a quick review of the Resident Evil 2 remake. I have been playing it came out. I did pre-order it. I'm not too far into the game, but it is a beautiful game. The graphics, the models, the actors, everything is just absolutely gorgeous. They did a great job of rebuilding it from the ground up. It's pretty much near flawless looking at everything. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the new actress for Claire, but I mean that's just nitpicking. It's a gorgeous game. It does go back to the horror roots really, really well. The game is terrifying. There have been a few times where playing it, I have jumped, shouted, and even screamed like a little girl. My wife's laughed at me as she sat here and watched me play it, because I'll repeatedly say, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. It's a terrifying game. And I've been playing it on the assisted level, which is the easiest one. And I'm still getting terrified. I ran into my first couple lickers, and I forgot how horrible they were back in that game. I took like 4 shots with my shotgun to bring them down, whereas in the Resident Evil 5 and 6, you can bring them down pretty easy. Some of them even just with a pistol. In this game, 4 shots with the shotgun, and that's 4 direct hits. I'm still getting taken down. They're still doing damage to me. Even just the normal zombies, they brilliantly upped the difficulty with just bringing down the regular enemies too. Even 2 headshots will be enough to knock an enemy down. However, just like in the Resident Evil 1 remake, they're going to get back up eventually, and you're going to put 2 more headshots into them. So I mean, overall, it can take 4 to 6 headshots just to kill a normal enemy, which is great because the game's not too easy. Then I'm not flying through it. If I drop a zombie in the library and I leave, I know when I come back that zombie's going to be back up and coming after me again. But most importantly, the game is so much fun with the updated controls now. Without the tank controls, the game is so much more fun. So I'm extremely glad that they put in the current controls where you can go over the shoulder, you can walk and shoot, which is one of my favorite things that Revelations and 6 did, was let you walk and shoot. So I'm glad we got that back in this game. Overall, it's just a great game. Like I said, I'm not done with it. I'm not too far into it. Just got done my first fight with William Birkin, which was horrifying in itself. I definitely recommend getting it if you haven't. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, I'd say get it as soon as you can. If you're not a big Resident Evil fan, 1, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast, and 2, once the price goes down or if it's on a good sale, buy it. You owe it to yourself. It's just a great game. You'll love it. I can't say enough good things about it. So the first question I'll address that was asked to us, I was asked why I like the Resident Evil series so much. And there's 2 game series that I would say really kind of define me as a person. They would be Resident Evil and Halo. I won't get too much into Halo. That was just really the first series I bought and played fully on my own. Like, it was just my first experience. But Resident Evil, when I was a kid, was the first game that I sat down and would watch my brother play. Like, when he would pop the first Resident Evil game in, I would make sure I was sitting down watching it because it was awesome to watch. I thought the game was terrifying, thought it was awesome, and I loved watching my brother play because it was the original Resident Evil. He would get extremely frustrated at it. And it was fun, him trying to explain the story to me and try to make it so I wouldn't, have nightmares, which didn't work. I still had nightmares. And then, same thing with Resident Evil 2. Would watch him play it. That was the first one that I started playing a little bit on myself. When my brother wasn't home, I'd pop it in and pick up on one of his saves, and I would just try to play through as far as I could. Never got very far, because obviously I was just a kid. Couldn't really figure it out, especially the puzzles. They were the end of me. But my brother eventually bought me Resident Evil 2 for the N64 because of the cheat codes. So when I entered in the cheat codes, I had invincibility and infinite ammo. I couldn't die. It was fantastic for me. He would just help me with the puzzles, but I would just run through like a tank. So growing up, it just helped me and my brother bond really well. It helped introduce me to gaming. And then I was always a fan of the series. Played through all of them, bought all of them. But the next most important one, some of you might be surprised by this, was probably Resident Evil 6. I love that game. I know it has its problems. I know some people hate it. I freaking love Resident Evil 6. You can hate me now if you want, but I love that game. But what makes it important to me is when my wife and I were still early in our relationship, Resident Evil 6 was how we bonded for a while, actually. I would pop it in, and we would just do 2-player through the campaigns, and then I introduced her to the Mercenaries mode, and that's been like her favorite thing ever since then. Even to this day, we will still play Mercenaries mode together. I had to rebuy it for the Xbox One, so yes, I have 2 copies of Resident Evil 6, one for the 360 and one for the One, just so we can play Mercenaries on the One as well. And we still have so much fun. We're still kick-ass at it. We can still get S grades like it's nobody's business. Whenever RENet has a competition, we're always in the top 60 in the world if we join the competition. Like, Mercenaries is our shit. We love that. So that's just another reason why I love Resident Evil so much, is it helped me build my relationship with my wife. Because before I met her, I was kind of an introvert, kind of a closed-off person. So having that to help me open up to her and just help us build helped get us where we are today. So it's just an extremely important game series to me and my being. The next question I'll answer, what other Resident Evil game do I want to see get remade? And this one's kind of a tough one, because after Resident Evil 2, the next logical one, if they're going to do another remake, is obviously Resident Evil 3. But after that, I don't really know if and when the next remake would be done. I mean, you have Code Veronica, which I guess they could do a remake of as well, but like 4, 5, 6, and 7, even the 2 Revelations, I don't think any of those need a remake for a long, long time. And I probably, out of all those, the only one I could see getting a remake would be Resident Evil 4 eventually. But even that's going to be not for a long time, because every new console that comes out, it gets an HD re-release. So I mean, that one's graphics are always being updated to HD at least. And I really don't know how much you could improve that game. So 4, 5, 6, I really don't see ever getting remakes. So obvious choice would be Resident Evil 3. But instead of a remake, is what I'd prefer is I'd actually prefer another entry in the Outbreak series or Revelations series. I love both those series. I love the episodic action storylines of Revelations. I love that gameplay, and if they're going back to the survival horror elements like they did in Resident Evil 7, if they're going to keep that going for the series for a little while, I think Revelations would be a great way to keep the action in this series too. I think it'd be great to have both options. And the Outbreak series, I loved it. I think it was a little bit ahead of its time. With our online capabilities that we have now and the Resident Evil control schemes we have now, I think the Outbreak series would be amazing on console now. They could even just remake the first one, and I'd be okay with that. I think just being able to hop on the game with your close friends or just 8 random people, talking through the headsets, working your way, trying to survive through Raccoon City, all the other places. The zoo level from the second one would be fantastic now. I shit my pants nearly playing that. In the original Outbreak number 2, when the zombie elephants and lions are running around the zoo, I think an Outbreak game would be fantastic. I was also asked in that same question, what other game would I want to see get remade just in general? And this is a tough one, a really, really tough one. Just because there's so many great games now, it's hard for me to go back and try to find one that I just want to see get a remake. I've been trying to do this for a few days actually, and it's still tough to me because my favorite games pretty much do have remakes. We got the Halo remaster, the Resident Evils, but I think is what I'd really, really want as a remake would be the original NFL Blitz or NFL Blitz 2001. I don't want the crappy one they released for the 360. Get it out of here. I don't want the Blitz Leagues. I want one of the 2 original arcade ones. The Blitz games are the best football games of all time. And you can fight me on that if you want. Getting a remaster of the originals on the home consoles, I think would be epic. So that's definitely what I'd want to see. This next question, I'm going to try to keep a little short, but it could get a little long. Somebody on our Instagram asked if I could do some Walking Dead versus Resident Evil characters. And I was thinking about this. There's not a whole lot to compare the characters by, but I'll do my best just because the Walking Dead series is pretty much zombie apocalypse hits, humanity has to rebuild. The Resident Evil series is more, there's a bunch of events that are like mini apocalypses, but the good guys beat them, and so everyone just goes back to living their life. New apocalypse comes, good guys win, everyone goes back to living their life. So the world never ends in the Resident Evil series like it has in the Walking Dead series. So it's kind of a little tricky, but I'll do a few. The first one, the obvious one that comes to mind was Rick Grimes from Walking Dead. I feel like if you're going to compare any characters and possibly swap universes, Rick Grimes, top of the list. And honestly, I think the best comparison for him, or person to go against, if you will, would probably be Barry Burton from Resident Evil. Not just for the gun, obviously, but or the beard. But Rick, he doesn't come off. He's never really come off like a strong young gun like Chris or Leon. So I want to compare him to either of those two. He's always kind of seemed like the leader, and Barry Burton was always kind of, in my mind, almost like a father figure, obviously, to Jill. And then the other games as well, he was always there, trying to help save the day. He got them their custom guns, everything like that. And between the two of them, if they were to go into an arena filled with zombies and give it a time limit of like 2 hours, whoever kills the most wins, I would probably give the edge to Rick Grimes. Mainly because, since his world has ended, he is a lot more ruthless and creative with killing zombies. You know, Barry has only ever really had to use guns and a knife, whereas Rick has had to use just basically rocks from the ground, you know, in his bare hands to kill zombies. So I feel like those two going into an arena, it would be close. But I think if Barry runs out of ammo, he's going to start bashing him with his guns, obviously, but he's not used to that environment. He's used to having guns and ammo. Whereas Rick, he wouldn't even need ammo. Give him a hatchet, he'll kill 100 zombies, no problem. So I think those two going head-to-head, it would definitely be edge in Rick Grimes' favor. From Resident Evil, you got to bring out Chris, and I struggle to find a counterpart for him in the Walking Dead universe. Because I don't think Daryl would be a good fit for him. He's really hard to find a counterpart for, but the person I guess I would like to see him go against in a zombie arena would probably actually be Jesus. And I know he's dead, spoiler alert. But I think those two would be similar enough that it would actually be a really, really good competition. Because in Chris's games, 5 and 6, even in Revelations, and even in the animated movies, Chris has shown he is really, really good at dropping his gun, pulling his knife, and fighting hand-to-hand. So I think actually he would have the edge over Jesus because of his weapons training and his melee abilities. Jesus is obviously pretty much a damn ninja. So he would be just fine, give him whatever weapon, and he's bouncing off walls, taking out zombies, everything. But I don't think he has the training that Chris does, so I think Chris would get the slight edge there. Next one I was thinking of, obviously, I would probably do Jill versus Michonne. But in this one, I'm giving the edge to Michonne for sure. Just because Jill's never shown that she can be the most physical of fighters. So, like, it got down to Rick and Barry. If it got down to the nitty-gritty and things were getting dirty, Michonne's ability to fight with her hands and her sword, she clearly wins over Jill. I know Jill has the STARS training and her weapons training, BSAA training, and she did show in 5 that when she was brainwashed, she was really good with her fighting abilities, but I don't know how much of that was her being brainwashed or not. So I'd still give it to Michonne for sure. Looking at Daryl and Leon, honestly, I don't know if I can pick between the two of them. They're both my favorite characters from their respective series. Well, Barry Burton's my favorite Resident Evil character, but you only get to play him as in one game, so it doesn't count. So between those two, it's a tough one. Like all the other Walking Dead characters, Daryl has just the ruthless aggression and will to survive. But I think Leon has the slight edge because he has the melee training and all of his weapons training as well. We've seen him use pretty much every weapon in the world. He can just pull pistols out of his ass like it's nobody's business. He can do all the martial arts. So I think he would win head-to-head with Daryl. Especially if Daryl's coming in with like his crossbow and a knife. You know, Leon has pistols for days, shotguns, and then worst case scenario, he's just going to martial arts his way through the horde of zombies. So I give that one to Leon. One more would probably be Maggie and Claire. And in this one, I'd probably have to give it to Claire. Maggie, in the show, when she was around still, showed she is an extremely capable fighter, and she's very, very good with a gun in her hand. But I think Claire's tougher. I think Claire's going to be a better shot. She's been through more, and she ended up joining... She joined? But she ended up getting, after the second game, she ended up getting into her training. She got working with the anti-terrorist group as well. So I think her and Maggie both step into that zombie arena, and I think Claire blows her away, to be honest. I don't think Maggie would be able to hang with Claire. I just don't think Maggie has the abilities or the skills to outduel Claire Redfield at all. And if you disagree with any of those, definitely let me know. But I feel pretty confident in my answers. Last question I got here is, if we made a 4Gamers movie, what actors would we get to play us? And this one was actually tough, because I have actors for us that they were easy to pick out. However, none of them are really close in age, so it'd be kind of a jacked up movie. But with Hollywood's ability to CGI dead actors into roles, I think they could figure out a way to make this work. First one I'm going to go with is for Pat. I would pick Nick Offerman. I feel like those two actually look alike. Nick Offerman, obviously, just an older version. And Nick's character, Ron Swanson, is pretty freaking close to actually Pat. So, I mean, he would be perfect. There's not even a second choice for Pat. It would just be Nick Offerman, CGI him to make him look numb, make him look young, give him 20 pounds of makeup. Do what you gotta do, Hollywood. He's the choice. After that, Joe would be tough. Very, very tough. But I'd probably give him someone like Michael Cera. Joe can be a tinge awkward at times. He can be really funny. He can be really fun, which all of those Michael Cera has. And, like, they don't really look alike, but I feel like when I look at the two of them, I feel like it's like looking at the same person. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. But for Joe, Michael Cera. No other second choice. For Sean, this one's going to kind of seem like a shocker if you know who the person is. He's not really a huge celebrity, but he's a pro wrestler. I'd have to say Paul Jourdain, also known as the Endgame Paul Jourdain. They have a similar hairstyle. Paul Jourdain is taller, thinner, and more muscular. But with that shaggy head of hair, if you just dye it a little darker, give him a beard, give him some pants, I think you do a really, really good Sean. So I'd have to go Paul Jourdain there. And same thing with Sean. I don't really know who else would be good for him. So I'm going to stick with that. So we got Offerman for Pat, Sarah for Joe, and then we got Endgame Paul Jourdain for Sean. It's looking like a pretty good movie so far. I'm not going to lie. I would pay a lot of money to see this so far. So we're on to Alex. And I guarantee after he listens to this and does any editing, I'm probably going to get a text from him that says, "What the hell, man?" My first choice for him, Jim Belushi. They're both funny, but Jim's got the same hairstyle or lack of hair, however you want to put it, going on that Alex does. So I feel like those two be pretty nearly identical, and Jim Belushi could pull off a good Alex. If you needed a younger actor, I struggled to find one. I'd probably go Jonah Hill. Probably got to make him put on some weight again. But I think Jonah Hill could pull off a pretty good Alex. But first choice, Jim Belushi by far. And then it comes to me. And I got two categories. Little budget. If we got the big budget, then, there's two choices to play me. Jason Statham and The Rock. That's it. Those are the only two people that could pull me off. I am such a in-depth and wound-up character that I think those are the only two actors that could successfully pull me off. I got this beard, and I think both of them look good with the beard. I'm not bald, but I do look good bald with a shaved head. And they're obviously both good-looking guys who are bald. So that would be perfect there. And, they're the closest to my physique, If you've seen me in any of the pictures or videos, I'd say, I'm pretty close to them. My wife would probably call bullshit on that, but, it is what it is. I'd say one of those two. If we just have a little budget and we can't get The Rock or Statham, I'd probably say Max Adler from Glee and Switch to Birth. He's a good actor. He's a funny guy. He's a little bigger, but I think he'd be able to pull me off pretty perfectly if you can't get The Rock or Jason Statham to play me. People would be lining up to play me, so I think it'd be easy to get Jason Statham and The Rock, but if you can't, then I would definitely take Max Adler. But yeah, that's about it for this exciting first episode of the Huz Cast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't know what my next episode will be about, but I do know next week Alex is going to be coming out with notes to myself. It looks like it'll be kind of Kingdom Hearts based, but he's still not sure. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like him to answer, fire away in the comments. Also, you can leave any comments from me on whether or not you enjoyed this podcast, if you'd like to see it continue, and also what you'd like the next topic to be about. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you all. Have a good one.